And welcome everyone to Gate to Wire. I'm Bruce Casella along with Dani Gibson. Dani, how are you today?
I'm good, Bruce. Great to be back. And I like our podcast. I love getting to talk with you.
A lot of people are loving it. John Service came up to me last week and said, man, I really love this thing.
No, it's cool. We get to talk to people and get a different perspective and away from the racetrack, away from the horses,
Right.
and hear about what it's really like. I mean, these people have really interesting jobs and lives, and get to get a different point of view.
Well, later on the show, we have Rodney Eckenrode from Equistar Farm, and he's going to come on and talk to us about Smarty Jones. And we also have Dick Jerardi, who's
Yeah.
watched Smarty every movement during the 2004 Triple Crown. So it's going to be kind of fun.
Yeah, we need the third leg of our tripod, right? Me, you, and DJ do a lot of cool stuff together. So looking forward to talk to Rodney and hear what it's like to be on the breeding side, and see when those horses get to come to Parks. And we've been rocking and rolling here at Parks.
Yeah, tell us all about what's going on. What happened this past week, and what can we look forward to?
Yeah, so horses, some thrilling finishes. We've had full fields, 10 race cards. Everyone's getting excited. Stake season's upon us. Disco Ebo won the Primanetta stakes down at Laurel. She's so cool. Speediness got a really cool second. That's a homebred for Jamie Ness, our leading trainer here. Everyone's excited about the Triple Crown. So Kentucky Derby preps are underway, and now we're just got to see who's going to get in that starting gate of that 20-horse field. Could be some defections, as there always are. And Torpedo Anna, we got to see her out at Oak Lawn win the Apple Blossom, which is a prestigious race. And we were just so lucky to have her here. And you got in the picture with her.
I know, that was exciting. Hey, a couple things surrounding Smarty Jones. Next Thursday, we'll find out whether or not he's going to make the Hall of Fame, which is so exciting. That's really cool. And the Smarty Jones documentary that we just did, the PTHA just put together, along with Tom Farrell and those guys, that's in the Philadelphia Spring Festival on Saturday. So that's really cool. And then, of course, Dani, we just found out that there's going to be a Smarty Jones exhibit at Parks on the first floor, Derby Day. So that's going to be a lot of fun to see that. Derby trophy, Preakness trophy, all kinds of memorabilia.
Yeah, I've got to see that stuff in Mrs. Chapman's house. She has beautiful memorabilia and keepsakes from that time that, it will be so cool that fans will get up close and personal. And Derby Day's fun here at Parks. Gates open at 10. They're going to have family fun in the picnic area. So hopefully we'll have some good weather. We'll have great races. I know that. And there's going to be a band playing and just lots of action. Get to root on the horses in the Kentucky Derby later.
All right, well, let's bring in Rodney Eckenrode from Equistar Farm, and of course Dick Jerardi from Let's Go Racing. Well, we welcome in Dick Jerardi and Rodney Eckenrode. Hey, Rodney. Hey, Dick.
What's up, guys? What's up, Rodney? Who is that there behind you, Rodney?
It's the main man here, huh? Pennsylvania's finest.
Smarty.
Smarty.
Hey, Smarty. How you doing, buddy? How is Smarty doing, Rodney?
He's doing really good. Really good. Actually, we had some people here that hadn't seen him in a number of years on Saturday or Sunday, I guess. And they came to breed a mare, and they couldn't get over how well he looked for 24 years old. So it was a good deal.
Does he have any personality traits or habits that people wouldn't know, fans wouldn't know?
You know what? He's really good at telling me what he wants. Like when he's ready to go out in the morning, he hollers. When he's ready to come in, he hollers. He has us trained pretty good here at the farm. So, but he's doing great.
Rodney, you're in the middle of breeding season out there. I know you got a couple new stallions. How busy has it been?
You know what? It's been really good. Naturally, there's fewer mares in the state than you would ideally like. But we've been very busy. Smarty and Brody are going to do, really well this year. And then the new horse has created a lot of interest, and that's being Zozos.
Yeah, we got to watch both of those horses run. Zozos and Brody's Calls. Dick and I talked about those races endlessly. Zozos was with Brad Cox.
Yeah, he's doing really good. A lot of excitement about that horse, so we'll see. It's a long process, as we all know, but I think he has the potential to do really well on the regional market. I think what he will bring to the regional mares is more speed. And I think the best way to improve your regional mares is to make them faster naturally. And I think he is going to do that. He's very long-legged for a sprinter type horse. And it should be very interesting. Plus, Munnings are so hot right now, and they run on anything. They like the grass, they like the dirt, they run on the poly. So it should be a really nice horse for the region.
Rodney, next Thursday, we're all excited with anticipation to see if Smarty Jones gets into the Hall of Fame. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I'm probably a little too attached to say anything other than I feel very cautiously optimistic he will get in. And it would just be the icing on the cake for Pat and John. It was the ultimate dream for Mrs. Chapman. They went from being a small breeder to seeing Smarty on the ultrasound for the very first time, from the paddock as a baby to the biggest stage in racing. I mean, and the most amazing thing is, naturally, you guys were all aware of the movement that he created while he was on the Derby Trail. But, here we are 20 years later, people still come, cry when they stand in front of his stall. He is a sports hero to so many people. And I got to tell you, the amazing people that he has brought into our lives since we've had him has just been a blessing. I can't thank Pat enough for giving us the opportunity. And you know what? It would just be fitting, deserving, however you want to word it, that he does have his place in the Hall of Fame from here forward.
Rodney,
go ahead,
Rodney, you didn't have the right ending on the racetrack. And we all know why that happened at the Belmont Stakes. How cool would it be to have this ending in the Hall of Fame?
Well, it wasn't the ending everybody had hoped for, but just to run second in the Belmont was a tremendous feat in itself after you had such a grueling campaign for the 9 months prior to. But you know what? This would just be well-deserved for Pennsylvania's greatest racehorse. And the fans, I mean, it is amazing. If there's ever another horse that can create this kind of energy, it'll be amazing for racing. We've had people come from Japan, from Alaska. The people in Alaska, they come 2-3 times a year. We've gotten to be really good friends with those people. And, it's a very common story for people to come and say, he is the reason I follow racing today. He did so much for the non-racing community that I don't think we could ever repay him for what he did.
Dick, you watched every movement of that horse while he raced. You were at the tracks, at parks when he trained. You were there. What are your thoughts about the Hall of Fame for Smarty? Why do you think he deserves to be in?
Yeah, I think Rodney said it exactly right, Bruce. The fact that he had this incredible campaign that started in early November of 2003, right through early June of 2004, without a single break, and to hold his form from the first race all the way to the last race. And look, he was only beaten by circumstance in the Belmont Stakes. It was what happened during the race that eventually cost him to be second, but he ran as good a race that day as he did in the Preakness and in the Derby. It just was, again, circumstance that got him beaten. So beyond the popularity, which is huge, his performance on the racetrack over that period of time, to me, is as good or better than any horse in the 21st century, including some of the greats like Flightline and American Pharoah and Justify. Smarty Jones had a longer campaign than Justify. They weren't able to pick the spots like Flightline was. And Ghost Sapper, a horse who actually was the horse of the year Smarty was a 3-year-old. So to have that kind of a campaign in this era is something that just does not happen. So just on the racetrack alone, that to me qualifies him to be in the Hall of Fame, which is why I've been a supporter for all these years. And I was fortunate enough to be on the committee this year, and we got enough committee members to agree to get him onto the final ballot. And now obviously the 170 ballots went out, and we'll find out in a week whether he makes it or not.
Well, if he gets in, it'll be amazing to talk to Pat Chapman. I can't imagine how emotional she'll be, and John, and of course, I know Rodney, you'll be very emotional. You and your two beautiful daughters and your wonderful wife. I mean, it's got to be so exciting for everyone. Dani, you know, for Parks and for the PTHA and for all the fans. I mean, I could just sit back and watch all the old video that I shot of the fans when Smarty raced. I mean, it's going to be a big story next Thursday if he gets in. And I told Rodney, Dick, be ready. There's going to be some media people. Please make yourself available. Talk to John whenever she sees him and say, hey, be ready. There's going to be some media people coming out to the track. We got to be ready for this.
Yeah. Hey, Rodney, what are your memories of 03 and 04? It's obviously well before you got involved with the horse and had him to Equistar Farm, but what do you remember from those days?
You know what? It's funny you ask. We had just moved back here to Pennsylvania. I was originally from Pennsylvania. I spent 17 years in Delaware doing the show thing. And we moved back in the beginning of 03. So we were part of that, but not involved in racing or breaking colts for the track or anything at that time. But it was just it was amazing to where you couldn't listen to the radio, turn on the TV, watch TV without hearing about the Philadelphia Flyer. You know, the kids doing the coloring contest, and the frenzy or the movement that went on was like no other. And that's probably the reason he is still so popular 20 years later. He touched so many lives. And, you know, it was amazing. You know, I think you were touching on his, you know, what he did on the racetrack when he was on the campaign. And if you look back at his speed numbers, I mean, there's a reason he won those races. He was much the best, and his numbers stand up for that, you know. So, you know, the people that are saying, did he do enough or didn't he do enough? He clearly did. You look at those numbers and it's hard to argue either way, right?
Yeah, the data, beyond just the obvious, what you see, the data supports everything that we saw at the time. To Rodney's point, Rodney today, he's still breeding. Does he? I know when I was out there in January, you said he still loves it. Does he still enjoy his job?
He is amazing. I'm telling you, he is more about it than he's ever been. And I think, you know, when we are using him or covering, it's just amazing to watch the balance, the strength, the coordination he still has as a 24-year-old horse. You know, it's just amazing to watch him. And, you know, it's just like a couple weeks ago there, Sarah Andrews and Barbara Livingston and Kim Pratt were here doing photos. And it was funny. We did some stuff out in the driveway and the teardrop there. And I told him, I said, listen, when I turn him loose, he's going to do this big sweeping circle and take off running. And that's exactly what he did. And it's amazing the power and the strength and how quick he still is to this day. Very, very sound. I mean, you would think the campaign and just what he's done through the last 24 years. But, I mean, he looks amazing.
Can you take us through a day of his life when you're breeding during the breeding season?
Well, his days don't really change too much, you know, when we're breeding and when we're not. You know, normally we come over early and we feed. And believe me, when he's ready to go out, he is very quick to start hollering at you. If you get anywhere near his stall, he's hollering. He is ready to go out. And then he will stay out, you know, the better part of the morning if the weather isn't, he's not a fan of the heat or the flies. So he'll stay out in the winter in the snow and the rain with his blanket on and be happy as he can be. But when it's kind of hot and sticky and those flies start biting, he's ready to come in. And he will come up to the gate and he's the first one to holler. He's ready to come in. So if we have situations where it's not safe to go outside, then we'll let him, you know, play on the lunge line in the arena is what we do, just to keep his exercise level up and keep his fitness up. So,
well, he looks great behind you. He was just smiling at us.
Yeah.
Talking. But we got to wrap this up. Any final comments, guys?
No, it's just so I know we're all waiting on pins and needles, but I mean he's forever our champion no matter what, and we're so grateful he's with you at Equistar. And I know Mrs. Chapman, I know she's so grateful that she found you as well.
We're blessed to have the opportunity. You know, we're just a small part of this amazing ride, and we're just grateful for the opportunity.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us on Gate to Wire, and best of luck next Thursday that we see some really positive stuff coming from the Hall of Fame. Thanks, guys.
Oh, thanks, guys. Bye, Smarty.
Bye, Smarty.
There he is.